Hello viewers, in this video we will discuss about neoclassical synthesis. Investment function, the return on to investment can be measured by marginal product of capital MPK. So marginal we know, मतलब one extra unit. The increase in output when capital stock increases by single unit. So whatever is one additional is marginal. तो जब भी हम कोई बिजनेस में कहीं इन्वेस्ट करते हैं गुड्स और सर्विसेज में, तो दो चीज़ों का बहुत ध्यान रखते हैं. एक होता है रिटर्न फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टमेंट, which is like if we are putting our money on some investments and also how much return we are getting from it, that is ROI. And rate of interest, which is when we are buying any loan or we are taking some loan and all, तो हमें कितना इंटरेस्ट वहाँ पे पे करना होगा. तो ये होता है रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. So equilibrium level is like when rate of interest is equal to the rate of return from investment. तो अगर हम देखेंगे तो हमारा y axis में we have our rate of interest and x axis में है we have return on investment. So our investment functions look like this. This is an equilibrium function. अपार्ट फ्रॉम प्रिवेलिंग रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट द डिसीजन टू इन्वर्ट डिपेंड्स. तो जो भी हमारा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट हम डिसाइड करते हैं तो वो किस बेसिस पे डिसाइड होता है, लाइक मूवमेंट इन प्राइजेस ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट और समथिंग. रिसोर्स अवेलेबिलिटी की, हमें कितना रिसोर्स अवेलेबल है, हमारी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज़, हमारे आने वाले टाइम पे गवर्नमेंट कैसी पॉलिसीज़ बना रही है, हमारे बजट्स पास हो रहे हैं, और कॉम्पिटिशन. ऑब्वियसली कॉम्पिटिशन इज़ एवरीवेयर नाउ डेज. वी हैव टू टाइप्स ऑफ मॉडल, accelerator model and adjustment cost model. So accelerator model is like कि when like our capital stock in the economy is a constant fraction of output level. So K equals to HQ. अगर हमारा output level change हो रहा है, अगर हमारे किसी product की demand बढ़ रही है तो definitely हमारा stock, capital stock भी change होगा, वो भी increase होगा and vice versa. Adjustment cost model, इसका मतलब होता है देर इज़ अ गैप बिटवीन द कैपिटल स्टॉक, डिज़ायर्ड कैपिटल स्टॉक एंड द एक्चुअल लेवल ऑफ कैपिटल स्टॉक. तो इसका मतलब होता है कि लाइक व्हेन देर इज़ वी हैव सम पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल स्टॉक विद अस, उसके साथ कई सारी कॉस्ट और भी ऐड होती हैं, जैसे उसकी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट, वेयर एंड टेयर, मेंटेनेंस एंड सो मैनी अदर कॉस्ट are also added with that. So that is our actual level of capital stock. Now next topic is demand for money and supply for money. तो जो हमारी मनी होती है उसके तीन फंक्शन होते हैं, बेसिक तीन फंक्शन होते हैं, लाइक मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज, यूनिट ऑफ अकाउंट, स्टोर ऑफ वैल्यू. सो दीज आर द मेन फंक्शन. और हमारा जो केनीज है, जो हमारे इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं, उन्होंने मनी के तीन टाइप्स में उसे डिवाइड किया हुआ है, विच इज़ फर्स्ट वन इज़ ट्रांजैक्शन डिमांड, प्रिकॉशनरी डिमांड एंड स्पेक्यूलेटिव डिमांड. सो हमारा जो प्रिकॉशनरी डिमांड है और ट्रांजैक्शन डिमांड है, हम उसको ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं. तो MTD. तो अगर हम आगे कहीं पे भी कोई ग्राफ वगैरह में यूज़ करेंगे तो वी विल बी यूजिंग दिस M पावर T एंड सुपर उसमें D. तो ये इन दोनों को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, प्रिकॉशनरी और ट्रांजैक्शन को. प्रिकॉशनरी डिमांड इज़ लाइक to be precaution about something uncertain to happen in the future, like instability of the income or uncertainty, anything related to uncertainty which could come in future. So precautionary demand of money is that we save some amount for our future. Transaction demand is like to meet exigencies in day to day life, लाइक हमारे जो डेली खर्चे होते हैं उसको पूरा करने के लिए हम लोग ट्रांजैक्शन डिमांड करते हैं. तो एक्सीजेंसीज आर लाइक द अर्जेंट नीड और एनी अर्जेंट डिमांड विच कुड रिक्वायर इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ. नाउ स्पेक्यूलेटिव डिमांड. स्पेक्यूलेटिव डिमांड इज़ जब हम कोई फाइनेंशियल असेट्स में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. फाइनेंशियल असेट्स आर लाइक व्हेन वी इन्वेस्ट इन फाइनेंशियल मार्केट like dividends, shares, commodities. Anything related to this is called speculative demand, and the risk in that is totally depend upon how we want to maintain our portfolio to be like. This is the graph of liquidity trap. So basically what happens when there is an increase in rate of interest, we tend to invest less, and when rate of interest is low, we tend to invest more. So this is a liquidity trap graph says here, and M, A and D is the short form for speculative demand. The precautionary and transaction demand for money may be fixed proportion of income and depend upon certain psychological factor from the basic requirement. So this means that precautionary and transaction demand, like transaction demand day to day kharche, we are paying our bills, we are buying our groceries, so it is somewhat fixed. Precautionary demand, if you are earning 100 rupees, so we will save 20 rupees for our future or maybe more. It depends person to person and psychology of a person. Like it could vary. Now speculative demand on the other hand depends upon rate of interest. When rate of interest is high, people keep relatively lower amount in the form of cash. They would be losing out interest otherwise. So when interest rate is high, they would prefer to keep it in their banks or somewhere to invest in, so that they could earn more from there. So the supply of money constitutes the currency in circulation and deposits in bank. So now government mostly focus on circulation of money a lot. So like what happens if you are investing on something? Suppose you took a loan from the bank and you invested on construction. So now what happens when you started a construction of a building? Labor is required, then plumber, then some contractors, architects. So lot of employment is given. So when they earn money, income, they pay taxes, they invest on their household expenses, and so the government also earns through it. So this is circulation of money, है ना? So government mostly focus on this, just because if you keep your money with the cash you keep with yourself will not yield you anything. This is where the proper functioning of economy lacks, if you're keeping your money with yourself, the cash, है ना? So government gives like LTC so that people go on a trip, they spend some money, and again circulation of currency. Companies nowadays in their any festivals and all, some part they give for cash and bonus and some as a gifts. So this is all to circulate the money, because people tend to keep the money with themselves and not to spend. So during late 1990s, Japanese economy went through severe recession. So that severe recession was because of lack of circulation of money only. And I will be doing the next video on this, a detailed video, so they will study about this. Now equilibrium in real sector, IS curve. IS curve is basically investment and savings. So here x-axis is income or output, and y-axis is savings and investment. So the S line is our saving function, so it denotes like at what level of income we are saving. Now this is the detailed graph of IS curve. This is, I'll just tell you, first quadrant, second, third and fourth quadrant. We'll start from the first quadrant, we'll start from the second quadrant. Our y-axis is R and x-axis is I, that is investment. So now if you will see, when rate of interest is high, investment is less. When rate of interest is less, investment is more. So on the basis of a rate of interest, our investment will increase or decrease. Now in third quadrant, we have drawn a line at 45 degree. Again in this one, our x-axis is investment and y is S is savings. So when we drew this line at 45 degrees, so this denotes that savings equals to investment, equilibrium level. Now in fourth quadrant, we have drawn a saving function line here. And in this x-axis is our income and y-axis is saving. So this saving function line denotes that how much we are saving at different levels of our income. So this quadrant denotes this. Now at the first quadrant, when we drew a perpendicular line from the saving function to the x-axis and a line perpendicular from our investment from the second quadrant, so we get our IS function. And according to our investment and function, our IS function, IS curve changes upwards or downwards. So this what is our IS curve all about. Now similarly, equilibrium in monetary sector, LM curve. LM curve, again we have four quadrants. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We'll start from second quadrant. Here our x-axis is MAD. MAD we said it's a speculative demand. Our y-axis is rate of interest. Now when our rate of interest are high, our speculative demand is less, and when rate of interest is less, our speculative demand is more. So accordingly our investment curve. Now in third quadrant, we could see x-axis is speculative demand and y-axis is the addition of transaction and precautionary demand, MTD, we discussed before. Now we drew a straight line which is like from 0. So this is like a sum of total demand. So in this third quadrant, we get to know that MS, money supply, equals to money demand, money demanded. So third quadrant signifies that. Now in fourth quadrant, our transaction, the sum of transaction precautionary demand at y-axis and our income level at our x-axis. So this says that how much we are investing and how much we are spending on our day-to-day expenses. Those, it is like savings and investment at a different level of our income. Now in our first quadrant, if we go, so here LM curve is upward sloping. Each point in LM curve represent equilibrium in money market. So this is our LM curve. So it tells us equilibrium level in money market and it's upward sloping. Now synthesis of real and monetary sectors. There are two instruments जो हमारी गवर्नमेंट जिनकी हेल्प से इंटरवीन करती है हमारी इकोनॉमी में, फिस्कल पॉलिसी एंड द मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. फिस्कल पॉलिसी जो होती है हमारी टैक्सेशन और एक्सपेंडिचर्स को फोकस करती है, जो हमारे गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करती है. सो जब हमारी when गवर्नमेंट इंक्रीज इट्स एक्सपेंडिचर, देयर इज़ इंक्रीज इन इन्वेस्टमेंट. जब हमारी गवर्नमेंट कहीं पे खर्चा करती है, कहीं पे पैसा लगाती है, तो इससे क्या होता है कि जो हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट स्केड्यूल होता है वो अपवर्ड शिफ्ट होता है। फिस्कल पॉलिसी जो होती है हमारी टैक्स रिलेटेड चीज़ों पे भी ध्यान रखती है, तो एक रिडक्शन ऑफ टैक्स रेट्स ऑन इनकम सच मेजर, इससे क्या होता है कि मतलब जब हमारा टैक्स रिड्यूस होता है तो एक इंसान के पास पैसे ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं, तो उससे क्या होता है कि उसका सेविंग्स और कंजप्शन यूटिलिटीज़ में उसका नेचर ऑफ स्पेंडिंग एंड सेविंग क्या होता है वो भी चेंज होता है। तो चेंजेस इन फिस्कल पॉलिसी अफेक्ट्स आर आईएस कर्व। तो जो हमारा फिस्कल पॉलिसी होता है वो हमारा आईएस कर्व को अफेक्ट करता है। आईएस कर्व इज इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड सेविंग कर्व। मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी वेयर एज इज लाइक change in money supply in the market and which is controlled by central bank, और इंडिया में है आरबीआई। when there is increase in money supply, तो क्या होता है कि जब मनी सप्लाई इंक्रीज होती है हमारी मार्केट में, तो गवर्नमेंट वांट पीपल टू टेक लोन्स, और अगर हमारे जो लोग हैं वो अगर इतने इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है लोन लेने में, तो क्या करती है गवर्नमेंट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स कम कर देती है, सो दैट मार्केट में लोग पैसे लें एंड दे इन्वेस्ट ऑन द सम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और एनीथिंग, कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड एवरीथिंग। So when interest rate decline for each level of income, there is a downward shift in LM curve. Accordingly, there will be change in equilibrium level of rate of interest and income. तो जब हमारा डिक्लाइन होता है रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, हमारा LM कर्व भी अफेक्ट होता है। तो जो हमारी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी होती हैं वो हमारी LM कर्व को अफेक्ट करती हैं। So this is how our IS and LM model looks like. So according to the interest rates, are both the curves shifts upward and downward accordingly. So this is classical and Keynesian range in which how our IS and LM curve affects the income level. So when the economy is operating at income level of Y3, at this level an increase in government expenditure results in a shift in IS curve from IS3 to IS-3. LM curve is perfectly inelastic. The rate of interest is already very high and real balances in the economy is very low. When the government borrows from the market, it competes with private investments, and there is an increase in interest rate and income level is low, does not increase. Whereas usually what happens, the economy usually operates at a moderate level of Y2. At this level, the economy has not reached full employment equilibrium level. When the government borrows from the market, it competes with private investment, but it does not crowd out private investment completely. They share. As a result of increase in government expenditure, the IS curve shifts from IS2 to IS-2. There is an increase in the rate of interest as well as the income. Hope you like the video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you.